buyers and sellers flock in the same, what do birds do? They
Birds of a feather flock together.
flock together. They're also talking about people with people. That's kind of a joke there, but
If you're not getting educated about local market conditions as well as national market conditions, especially if you're a real estate agent, you're in title, finance, accounting, attorneys, all these people give advice. You're doing yourself and your client base a disservice. This is the Knowledge Brokers Podcast. I'm Tom Toole here with Byron Lazine. And Byron, I love the article that BAM put together this week. I found this to be one of the most insightful things for agents. And it really shows a lot of the stuff we talk about on the show here and the pod, which you've got to be asking better questions and bringing solutions. So this got posted by Sarah. It was on the 25th, so it came out yesterday. There was a new RE/MAX report that showed 80% of prospective home buyers are willing to get creative and make adjustments to their home buying plans to achieve home ownership in 2024. Some of the adjustments, and I want to get your reaction here: buying a fixer-upper, buying a home with a friend or family member, borrowing from friends or family members, putting less than 20% down, buying a multifamily home, buying a home with a longer work commute, buying a tiny home or prefabricated home, and making an all-cash purchase. What do you think about all this? This is big news, and there's a lot to unpack about what knowledge brokers should be doing.
yeah, I'll comment on it in just a second. I think any of these surveys, like the one that RE/MAX just put out, that's in this Now BAM article, or the ones that we're putting out, for example, BAM and 1000 Watt, or the Zillow surveys, or any of these surveys that you're seeing right now on how the consumer is thinking about this housing market, is critical for every knowledge broker to be consuming, to get a better understanding of how they're thinking about this process. What misconceptions do they have? Where do I need to beef up my education and my outbound to help meet the needs of today's consumers? Because they're thinking about this market dramatically different than they were 2 years ago. So, we've talked to a lot of agents, Tom, that are 3-4 years in. Maybe they were that COVID agent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were brought up on one type of market, and now things have changed. Consumer mindset has changed, and they don't have a market to relate it to. What I will say to the COVID agents, and I said this to some of my agents, after going through, now that you're on the other side of 2023, you now have some scar tissue. So nobody can tell you anymore. If you're still in the game right now and you're full-time, you're actively doing this thing as a COVID agent, nobody can tell you, oh, you're just a COVID agent. You haven't been through the hard times. You've been through 2023. You have scar tissue, and you can apply that, just like you need to apply this information into your business. So let me just comment on some of this. Buying a fixer upper. Okay, this one stuck out to me in a really big way, that there are more buyers today thinking about buying a fixer upper. It actually, to use one of your favorite lines when talking to consumers, Tom, can I tell you why this concerns me a little bit?
Bingo.
This concerns me a little bit because most first-time home buyers, most buyers in general of, primary residents in this country, when they think fixer upper, they're thinking the ease in which HGTV makes it look. And that's not the reality of most fixer uppers. You can get yourself into some real hot water by buying a property that you perceive as a fixer upper, and it needs rehabilitation. It needs full renovation. The cost can be, when not working with a professional upfront, the cost can be much lower in your estimates and your mind than when you go out and actually bid these jobs or actually uncover, some of these hidden costs that you might not even be able to see. I got no problem if we're talking cosmetics. We're talking the carpet's disgusting. I'm swapping that out for brand
Yes.
new, getting some nice stuff in there. The tile needs to be cleaned. The grout needs to be repainted and sealed. I'm going to paint the property. I'm going to change lighting fixtures. These are cosmetic things that I think buyers should be looking for opportunities to update granny's house. But there's a lot of inventory, specifically Northeast. You can look at some of the Midwest properties that are really old and need more than cosmetics. Fixer upper wouldn't be the right word for it. It'd be rehabilitation, full
Hmm.
renovation. And I don't want buyers to get those two confused. So as a knowledge broker, my advice would be to take that to heart and say to yourself, can I really articulate the costs? Can I really connect the contractors in this marketplace? Not one, but an array of options, because the one that you're going to reference is probably going to be booked out 6 months. Do I have options on contractors? Do I have a feel for cost? Have I gone through a fixer upper, a rehab, and a renovation myself? Have I been around a job site? Do I know what goes on when contractors show up? Can I get these prices during the inspection process? That's a checklist that if you can't say yes to all of those, start working on that. Start getting those relationships, get around the folks and the agents maybe that have those relationships, because it'll be important for you when you're working with buyers in this market that are looking to save a buck. So that's the one that stuck out quite a bit to me. There's more in here, obviously, but I'll kick it back to you and see what stuck out to you.
So you mentioned something there that's really important. I want to double down on this. If you're a knowledge broker out there, you don't have a vendor list, trusted contractors you can refer out. You're missing an opportunity, because these people will, if you refer them business, right, you at least give them a shot. What ends up happening is, when you're looking at these homes, Byron, imagine you and Nicole, you're looking for a new house, right? You're in Connecticut, everything needs work, and you have a contractor you can bring with you at the appointment to give an idea what it's going to cost in real numbers. That's going to help you, and that's going to help them, and that's going to be a very loyal client. That's the kind of relationships that smart agents have, especially when looking at the fixer upper. Everything you said is spot on, but you got to build your network to be able to help your clients. Really important point.
We know that in 2024, your business operations will be more important than ever. Once I figured this out, my business was able to scale and take off. See, generating leads is one thing, but getting that deal across the finish line while keeping everyone happy is another story. Enter Mosaic, everything you need once a lead becomes a client. Mosaic picks up where CRMs leave off to streamline the client experience and maximize your productivity. It's the operating platform that gives agents and teams everything they need to stay organized and proactive throughout the entire transaction process and beyond. Transaction management, forms, AI-powered collaborative search, client retention capabilities, and advanced analytics for your business. In other words, you can use Mosaic to create a powerful flywheel for your business. It will help you close every deal, boost your profitability, and generate more repeat and referral business. If you need a better way to run your business, check out the link below and learn how Mosaic can help you today.
And if you're thinking renovation, full rehab, we just did this with a house in Connecticut a year ago, where we were going to do we knew going in, we're going to do a full rehab. It was Granny's house. She owned it 46 years. She was the single owner of the property, but never did anything in 46 years, because her father, who was a builder, built the house, and she was so in love with everything, never did a damn thing. So full rehab, full renovation. Anytime you get into one of those, you're going to overpay, for the end product. Now, doesn't mean you're not going to have equity in that deal if you buy the right location. I'm just saying you're going to overpay off of what you thought the budget was. You're going to probably increase budget throughout the process, because you get somebody like Nicole White, my partner at the one team and co-host of Real Word, and she does all these, designs for me. She'd be like, while we're in the middle of the renovation, oh, Byron, it would be really nice to do this. And you're like, oh, that would be the right way to do it. And then you end up making decisions throughout that process. Even when we do flips, okay, there are going to be hidden costs. So when you're doing a flip and it's not something you're going to use personally, you got to be even more strategically aligned with a budget. You got to go in there with a budget, stick to it, have a little bit of wiggle room for hidden costs. But you got to play with these numbers. You'd have a spreadsheet as a knowledge broker, not only for investors buying investment property, but for people who are going to go and buy and do a fixer upper. Let's work on a budget. What makes sense? How's this going to impact down payment? How's it going to impact payment if you're putting less down on the house now and putting it into the fixing up of the property?
Well said. So let's get it back to what agents should be doing with this information, because this survey is very eye-opening. And there's a stat in the survey that 9 in 10 respondents were either somewhat likely or very likely to discuss alternative options with a real estate agent. And Nick Bailey goes on to talk about president and CEO of Remax. Affordability remains a key concern for home buyers as home prices, interest rates, and inventory continue to fluctuate. Despite today's economic environment, it's clear that home ownership is still a priority for many, and the results of our survey prove buyers are willing to go outside their comfort zone. So great. That means they're open-minded. So how do you deal with that as an agent? And here's the challenge that I see a lot of agents happen. They show the first house, buyers don't like it, there's zero follow-up. We know that's the number one complaint about agents, that they don't follow up, they don't keep in touch with people. All the sales happen at 6+ attempts. This data is out there. So that's number one. You got to do some follow-up. But secondly, something that our sales leader, Brian, and myself have been preaching is the 1-3-1, right? So it's giving people options. So what's the problem? I can't afford what I want, where I want, right? That's the problem. So what are the options? And as an agent, you've got to present these options. So there's typically 3 options. One is, hey, we can look at homes that are maybe need some work, are fixer-uppers like you talked about, Byron. That's one option. There'll be a lower acquisition cost there. 2 is we can look at some adjacent neighborhoods or some places that are close to where you want to be, but maybe you can get a better bang for your buck. And option 3 is we do nothing and look for the needle in a haystack. Now, based on my experience, what I found is we want to look at all the options, whether it's a fixer-upper or it's something that's been sitting on the market. Maybe it's not, and it's got some high days on market. By the way, high days on market, at least here, I'm looking at like more than 2 or 3 weeks on the market right now as an opportunity to go in and maybe get something at a better price. We know days on market's dropped. It's still below pre-pandemic levels. That's kind of the sweet spot. That's going to be market-based.
That'd be market-based, because in Austin, 2 or 3 weeks would not be a long time.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah. So
Just to
you got to know your market.
drive a comparison.
Totally agree with that. So know your market, know what that number is. And then also, hey, this home's right outside of the downtown area where you want to be in. It's a 5-minute car ride. You get a little more elbow room. There's not as much demand here. I'm not sure if this would be for you, but why don't we go take a look at it while we're looking at these other 2? And the agent that brings options, especially to the first showing, right? If you're meeting someone at the first showing and you bring 2 or 3 other properties to show them, you know what that does for the consumer? One, it's going to help you stand out because most agents don't do that. Secondly, hey, this person's actually bringing solutions and options to the table. And that's what the 1-3-1's all about. You got a problem, you bring 3 options, then you navigate a solution that everyone can agree upon. And this data tells you the solutions consumers are open-minded to.
Say that 1-3-1 again. I think that's a great
Brian
formula.
Blau, man, this guy is, you know Brian. So
Yeah.
he brought this to our last team meeting. So you got a problem, affordability. That's the problem identified here, right? You bring 3 options to the table. Hey, we can do nothing and keep getting the same result. We can go maybe outside of, but that's an option, right? I mean, I think you always have to look at that. Some people aren't going to bend, right? Especially if your kids are in like the school system or something like that. There's factors there. So one option is stick with the plan and hope you get a different result. The second option is, hey, maybe let's look at lower priced homes that need work. Maybe let's talk to a family member about getting some down payment assistance, which is certainly an option. That's one of the things here. Go through the options. Maybe we're going to look outside your desired area, whatever that is. If you're not bringing options to the table, they can't make decisions. And our job as a guide in this business, we're not the hero, we're the guide. You bring 3 options and then you make a recommendation what you're clear the best option is. And the good news here, Byron, is we know what the options are that they're going to consider. We've got literally all these things listed in this survey. That's why you got to immerse yourself in the data, because normally, and I found this so frequently, the stuff consumers care about is not the same thing agents think they care about. And it always is about like time frame or making things work, or am I going to be able to afford to make the home the way I want? And a lot of what agents worry about is price and commission. And they think that's going to be the negotiating point in a lot of these things, or they're not going to use me because of the commission lawsuit. What we're finding is people just want someone to guide them through. So when you use that 1-3-1 mantra, that 1-3-1 problem solving technique, it's very simple. And you use data to back up the options you're giving, you're going to hit the hot buttons. And that's what knowledge brokers are doing right now. And that tells me the people that will take this information, think about it, confirm it, bring options to they're going to be the ones selling houses this year.
The 1-3-1 is so relevant in the landscape that we're in right now in this, not only in this housing market, but in this industry of real estate, with what's going on with lawsuits, what's going on with everything else, like commissions. Bringing options to every problem is the job of a great real estate agent. You hit some really good points there on how when you're in front of client, when you're working with potential client, what you should be doing. I love what you said, bringing other properties. It's not just either too, just like, hey, do you want to go see this one? It's, hey, I've been inside. It's the way you present it. I've been inside the property 2 streets over, and this is something I think you should just take 5 minutes. Let's do a quick walkthrough. I've already set it up where we can get in there and do a quick tour. Let's head over there and take a look, right? Being able to articulate that you're the local expert. I've been in this property. I've identified it as one for you. It's why knowledge brokers should be seeing a lot of property. The more property you see, the more of an expert you're going to be. Now, I want to take this survey, though, and give all of our knowledge brokers something to use to uncover more leads sitting inside their database that could potentially become clients. Okay, so here's this email subject line. And we right now, before I give it to you, we want to be talking directly to the person that we want to reach out to us. We're looking for that 1, 2, 3 people who are ready to take a specific action. Okay. So 9 of 10 buyers are saying this about your home, are willing to do X about your home. You don't say what in the subject line, because if I'm a potential home seller right now, I'm seeing that what are 9 out of 10 buyers in this market saying about buying my home? Okay, so cliffhanger subject line. Now you take the data, in the whole. We'll link this up down for everybody, this article, but it's on nowbam.com, this Remax survey. And you say, in our market, here's how much inventory is available, puts you in a power position as a seller. And if you were worried about some of the fixes you might have to go through, or worried about the economy and how, is somebody going to afford your price point? Well, guess what? Here are how the consumers are willing to make concessions and make adjustments. 9 out of 10 are willing to make, and then you just list out all the adjustments. The work's really been done for you. It's a powerful email to get somebody to reach out and say, hey, I have been thinking about selling. By the way, though, this is what you're going to hear if you're asking the right questions. I have been thinking about selling, but the problem is I also have to buy. Lee, who's one of our ISAs,
Yes.
just yesterday, he sent me a text, set 9 appointments on the day yesterday. Okay. If you don't think interest is up, dig into your CRM. One of them that he set was a 8-month-old Zillow lead, 8-month-old Zillow lead that ended up being a buy and sell opportunity. He also gave me an update that one of the leads he gave out earlier in the week was signed for a buy and sell opportunity. And then yesterday we had a clear to close for a buy and sell opportunity that he generated. Now, he's been with me since 2017, Tom. We've been working on
Highly
scripting
skilled. Yes.
since the day he walked in, and asking the right, when you have a buyer in front of you, don't assume that they're just a buyer. Make sure you ask the questions, find out if they're a seller, if they know other buyers and sellers. Buyers and sellers flock in the same, what do birds do?
Birds
They
of a feather flock together.
flock together. They're also talking about with people. That's kind of a joke there, but you know what I'm saying? You got to
Stand-up comedian
uncover,
Byron Lazine here.
you got to uncover those opportunities that are out there by asking the right questions.
Since April, we have uploaded new and sought-after courses, content, and tactical assets for your business into the BAMX platform. Not articles behind a paywall that only pontificate to you what you should think and do, but education that actually shows you how to do what you need in today's market. Every day, we continue to add more content into BAMX and our private Facebook community. Content that works, content that our members have exclusive access to daily. It's why over 1,500 of you and climbing have joined us in BAMX. It's also why tomorrow's price is guaranteed to be higher than today's. That's called inflation. Do not wait any longer. Use code Knowledge Brokers and join the thousands of agents taking their business to the next level today. Code Knowledge Brokers for 10% off. See you in BAMX.
You're absolutely right, though. When people buy and sell real estate, they tell everyone they're moving. Like, everybody knows. And, and then you hear that person, and some people think it's kind of annoying, and that's fine. But here's what you need to know as a knowledge broker. When you're doing a good job, Byron, you told me this a while ago. You never know who's watching you. When people are going through the transaction, they see these aggressive moves. They see how you're going above and beyond, because we know the bar to service, unfortunately, is very low in our industry. That's going to get you more business. And if you're not looking at every sale as an opportunity to, hey, how do I get a referral from this person? How do I leverage some activity in the neighborhood? That's where agents get jammed up. They're just waiting for someone to come to them instead of going out and hunting. So I love that Lee set those appointments. I wrote this email down. We are templating this now. This is good stuff. That's something you want to implement if you're a knowledge broker. Email marketing works, but you got to do it in the right way, just like Byron talked about. Very, very good stuff there. This survey's gold, man. I love this. And I think it's the kind of stuff where it looks simple, but there's so much to use with it. And you can leverage this into content marketing, followed by follow-up phone calls, text messages, emails. That's where things get exciting for people that want to do more deals.
Did you see on the survey how many buyers are thinking about multifamily? That number was significant. I think it was in the 60%. We can give you the exact number here.
61% want to purchase an investment property. 50% are willing to buy a multifamily property to split the mortgage payment. We have a referral that just came in like this. It was from our Tom Ferry network, and the guy's an MBA student, wants to buy a place and rent it out to his roommate. I mean, this is real life. This is happening.
And everybody here listening knows what happened in November. In November, they changed the 4 units and under, the ability to buy those with less money down. Now, buyers don't necessarily know that, but your ability, knowing, okay, consumers are thinking multifamily because they're thinking about how to bring their payment down. Now, do they realize you can do that with 3.5% down? They can do 5 or less % down on these multifamily properties right now. You getting that information out there and saying, hey, we're going to discuss how you can buy, have a picture of a 4-unit, a typical 4-unit in your market. Send it out an email. We're going to be doing a seminar here. There's only 20 seats. We're going to have some refreshments, and we're going to walk everybody through how you can buy a building like this with 5% or less down, okay, out of your pocket. Now, what's going to happen? Those people that show up that are like the folks in this survey, interested in buying a multifamily, they're interested in buying a home. Okay, you meet them, you show them the opportunity there to get 5% down, but you also show them the opportunities that exist in the market. They may end up buying a 2, they may end up buying a single family, they may end up buying that 4, but they're in the game and in the process, and now they're with a knowledge broker who can help get them through that process.
Well said. So, why this stuff is so important, and then we're going to go into some data about the very early stages of the spring market. And by the way, don't be one of those idiots that say, wait to list your home until after the Super Bowl. I think that's just a PSA to all the knowledge brokers out there. That being said, this is the kind of stuff you need to start communicating now. March is going to be here before you know it. The spring market's going to be here before you know it. And it's too late if you're waiting until spring to start marketing and prospecting to your database. These are things that need to happen. Like, once you get done listening to this podcast, listen to the email, type it up, send it out, and then follow up with the people that open it on Monday. That's the game right now. And because of that, what I want to hit on here, Byron, is HousingWire does a nice job with their housing market key lead indicators every week. I find this to be one of the must reads for the industry. And if you look at a couple data points here, and there's 2 specifically, we don't have this week's data yet. Purchase index from the U.S. Mortgage Bankers Association. It's based on the number of purchase applications being filed. Remember, you have to have an executed agreement of sale to do that. That's how it works. And national single-family home new listings. If you look at where we were compared to the last 2 years, so far the first 3 weeks of January, you got to kind of throw out that first week because of holidays and people and all that stuff. We're trending ahead in terms of the number of new single-family listings coming to the market, just ahead of 2022, and definitely ahead of 2023. It's a start, and I'll share these charts with Haley so she can put them up in the show here. And then you're looking at the Mortgage Bankers Association Purchase Index, well, we've come up substantially from where we were, and almost meeting. I mean, we're way ahead of where we were last January. This tells me we might actually have a seasonal market for the first time since 2019.
Yeah, there's a lot of signs pointing towards the bottom is behind us. Inventory across the country might not be your market specific. There are still some depressed markets, but nationally speaking, new listings and inventory both above all marks of last year. And I really think the more you dig into your database and help the consumer understand what the opportunities are, the more you're actually going to uncover what I was talking about in that text message. Not just more inventory, but buy and sell opportunities, a real fluid market where we can get transactions up. Now the market is always supporting about 4 million or more, 4 million being the floor. I know fourth quarter of last year's season adjusted, we were at 3.8 million existing home sales, but about 4 million or more. A really good agent, a really good broker in their market can actually help lift that number through the education that they're doing. So that's a reporting. I mean, that's a encouraging report though, Tom, from HW for sure.
Yeah, it's a lead indicator, right? And the whole point of this is whether there's 4 million sides, 4.5 million sides. I mean, the over under reset was what, 4.375 or something like that, Byron.
Yep.
The point is there's transactions to be done. And the consumer right now is way too smart to just, they're not hiring the first agent as much as they were a couple of years ago. Speed is important, but it's not the be all end all like we saw during the COVID market. So educating consumers, presenting options, showing up like every day's an interview. We've been talking about this for months. That's what to do right now. That's what knowledge brokers are going to be doing. But you've got to spend, I'd argue everyone needs to spend 15, 20 minutes a day just getting educated about what people want to hear and what's going on in the market. BAM's a great resource, right? We're putting stuff there all the time. Agent tactics, data, all those sort of things. The Resi Club with Lance Lambert, Danielle Hale, Logan Motoshami, all these people. Just spend a little time reading and understanding this, and then spend the same amount of time prepping locally for your appointments, knowing what's going on in the neighborhood, where the homes are selling, what's transacting. Have you been in the houses, like you said, Byron, getting into them? That preparation will prevent you from not delivering the information, because usually the reason people interview more than one agent is because they can't find one they like, or they can see they don't know what they're talking about, because today's consumers are way too informed.
Being in more homes breeds confidence in knowledge brokers that resonates with the consumer, because they're interested in a lot of these homes and they're looking at you as being someone who should have been in the majority of them because it's your job. They're driving by, seeing them on the internet. When you tell them you've been inside, you have a feel, you know what it smells like, that is going to resonate with those potential buyers and leads. Tom, I got a hard stop. So this one is a fast,
quick hitter.
Yeah. Knowledge Brokers pod. And we were able to move because Lisa bailed on us. But
I thought there was this principle out there that says if it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist. But apparently for Lisa Chinati, this is in her schedule and it doesn't exist for her. I don't know.
She can just bump things at will. She gets double booked like we all do at times. But
I'm just kidding around, Lisa. That's why, that's why there's three of us, because the show must go on, and consistency is key in this business. A lot of great stuff, Byron. You got a big day ahead of you. Go get it. We'll be back next week. Go get that knowledge.
Pleasure doing this pod.